This is a recording of Wayne B. Steinkamp of 6469 Southwest 108th Street, Ocala, Florida, 32676. Phone number is 904-854-7940. Wayne also maintains an address in Pentwater, Michigan, Post Office Box 360. This recording was made by Jim Walkinshaw of the Oldsmobile History Center on January 30th, 1989 at Wayne's Florida home in Ocala. This is tape number 1 of 2 tapes. Wayne, if you would just start giving us your name and your address, please. Maybe start with your Florida address.
All right. 6469 West Southwest 108th Street, Ocala, Florida 32676. Phone 904-854-7940.
Okay, and you also maintain a home in Michigan.
Residence.
Okay, where's that?
It's in with P.O. Box.
Okay.
360, just Pentwater, Michigan, 49449.
Okay, great. Now, maybe if you could just go back and start me when you started.
It'd be 1941, March.
Okay, and you started where?
At the Forge Plant.
Okay. What were you doing?
Well, I was hired in as a knurling operator for the 75 millimeter shell.
Okay.
It wasn't in operation yet. That's where I run into that lathe trouble. Bob Davis.
Is this the first time you've seen a machine shop, so to speak?
Well, I've worked on wood lathes, in high school, but I never metal lathe or
all right.
That there.
Okay.
And
what? Do you remember where those were? Those machines were in the buildings?
Yeah. Let's see. The lathe was out where they made the F-85.
Okay, that would have been 201 or 202.
Yeah, about that. The whole building.
Yeah, okay.
Of the old foundry plant there. Then when the 75 line went in is where we had to have the accelerators going before we could use the knurling machines.
Okay.
So I never run the knurling machine. After we got going, and I had start setting tools, ended up by seniority being the one tool setter. Excuse me. I never ran a knurling machine until the day that they were taking all the machines out. I ran up, grabbed a couple empty shells and ran them.
Just to see how it would go?
No, to say that I had run the job I was hired in for.
Okay. Did that machinery stay there during the whole length of the war?
Yeah, until they coated it and shipped it out. And, I guess someone said it was others making 75s too.
All right.
Seemed like we made enough for everybody, but I guess we didn't.
What else were we making at the time?
105s.
105s, okay.
Then we went into, at the end of the press plant up there, were 31, 32, 33, 34 presses.
Okay.
They started making 155s.
Ooh, big ones.
Yeah. We had a lot of trouble with it, but we tried to, by hydraulic, we push the mandel in there, then maintain electricity, spectricity.
No,
it made us.
Were we just forging those, Wayne, or were we machining those too?
No, they just went up the conveyor and went out, rolled out, and they dropped in the coal cars out there on the railroad.
Okay.
When they were full, painted and all that was the code color of the machine, metal. Out it went.
Okay. Now, were the buildings up at the north side, the 207 and 208 there then when you started, or?
Well, no, they were added about, what, 44, 45.
Somewhere in that time frame.
They moved us over to building 35
Okay.
to heat treat over there. 2 furnaces with oil quench and the Magnaflux and a crew to shot blast and Magnaflux. All the bomber and Navy parts, they had to be, we had to be certified by the Navy that we were adequate.
What kinds of parts were those, Wayne?
Oh, the landing gear parts, the wing hinges, you know, for the Navy, the planes.
Where the hinge folded the wings.
The wings snapped up.
All right.
Landing gear parts for them. Tail, like this wheel in there.
Tail wheel.
Then we made.
Those were all hot forged?
Yeah.
Okay.
And bomber landing gears. The we didn't have those over at the plant, but in Forge Plant. Always marveled that they weigh 484 pounds when they come out of the hammer.
Holy Pete. How did they handle
them? With a hoist and tongs and slide them right through.
They would.
Roll them out.
That's simple.
And when they were trimmed, then they would go into gons of gravel to slowly cool.
Okay.
Then go to use tool. If there was any defects, they would come back. If the center had been hollowed out, you know, that oil cylinder part, you could pick the whole thing up with 2 fingers if you wanted to. That's what was left of the shell. No, I found that work very fascinating. I had to be certified along with Hallie Hartness. He was doing most of the Magnafluxing operation. It was good.
You say that was over in Building 35?
Yeah.
Over at the main plant?
Yeah. They wouldn't let us use their union.
Yeah.
We had to bring the committeemen if there was a call from the Forge Plant.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't get it as get the same answer from A to B, but
were those big, like those landing gear parts, were those forged on
15,000.
15,000 pound hammers?
Yeah. They'd stand over there and pound away on those things.
And you heated those in some kind of a great big
gas furnace.
A gas furnace, a long one or a rotary or?
Let's see, they was at the we put in new ones for the cranks. Seemed like those were slotted.
A slot type furnace?
Yeah. And then we were using, about that time too, we were using number 5 crude oil.
My goodness, heavy stuff.
Oh, when they left Muskegon, they was bring it up to our plant. They'd leave Muskegon hot in the winter and bring it up to the plant, put it in the pit out there with steam heated coils in it to keep it flowable. Because most of that stuff was refined paraffin base.
Yeah.
I found that with number 4 oil and heating oil for the house.
Stuff would freeze right up if you got it cold, wouldn't it?
Just about. It. I called the oil company one day. The furnace wouldn't run. Called them. They said, "We'll come over and pump your tank out, but first, will you, if you got some kind of heating idea, to warm it runs through the basement floor.
Yeah.
To heat that oil before it gets through your furnace." I did. I disconnected it, and I had seen, there's a little speck of ice on there.
Isn't that something?
That was wax. I didn't know
it settled out. Yeah. How did we keep it from freezing up, so to speak, at the plant? Did we?
I had it in the pit out there by the railroad.
Yeah. It was in a tank, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the ground with steam coils.
Okay, so we ran coils through it.
Yeah, pump it in. And
yeah. Did we ever have any problem at the shop with that stuff?
I don't know. That was always over on the upsetters.
Yeah, okay.
I knew it smoked like the dickens in the morning when you come in early.
Yeah. Do you remember what you made when you hired in?
Well, I just went right on the 75 line
No,
down.
but what was your wage, your
Oh,
salary,
about
your wage?
89 cents an hour. I thought
89
that,
cents an
well,
hour.
that was wild because Saturday come and there was no work. And as the first Saturday, I think since I'd started working anywhere that I ever had off,
Mm-hmm.
I'd worked in a grocery store
Okay.
for 5 years. And Saturday off in a grocery store is unheard of unless
Uh-huh.
you die or break your leg.
Yeah.
I had Saturday off. You want to know the wages I made at the grocery store?
Sure.
I worked 85 paid hours a week, and I got it clear up to $27.
$27.
You darn right, boy.
Like 30 cents an hour or something.
I don't know if it come that much, but anyway.
So 89 cents an hour must have been
Oh, that was
huge.
wild. I had money I didn't know what to do with. In fact, afraid to cash the check.
When you came, Wayne, were there, now the Forge plant had existed there prior to you
As a
arriving?
rainbow, as a foundry at one time, the buildings were there in the
Okay.
swamp.
Was it vacant before we
Yeah,
arrived?
I think it was,
Just a vacant-
I think that's why they bought it, because the thing was vacant. That was, as far as I know, it was.
Uh-huh.
And, you know,
Yeah.
the wood block floors,
Yeah.
most of the plant. It was ideal for just raise the roof for hammers.
Uh-huh. Is that what they did?
I don't know. That was all done when
That
I
was all
got
done
there.
when
Yeah,
you
when
got
I
there.
got there in March.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I can still remember a few crankshafts coming over from the hammer shop
Okay.
over into it'd be the first buildings back where the upsetters and Maxie started down there
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
near 201, 202 there.
By the steel yard, up by the steel yard. Or
Well,
the other way.
well, coming in towards 201.
Okay, towards the east. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Did during the construction phase of all those buildings, and was that a heavy effort on people's parts to try and get this done so we could get under motion making?
I don't know. We were working.
Oh, that's right. You were back at plant one.
Lockerbie and I was working 2 12-hour shifts over there.
Oh my.
And he took the 6 to 6, and I took 6 to 6. So I had the midnight shift and the afternoon shift and everything else involved in mine.
Okay.
Then Piddington was in the heat treat, and Durbin, and it seemed like Red Allen was over there.
Okay.
Can't think of his first name, but we always called him Red Allen.
You remember who your first boss was?
Walt Clifford was the first one I really got was Rohrback.
Howard Warback?
No, his father.
Oh, old. Howard's dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
all right.
I met him when he came in. And then Walt Clifford took his place.
Was the Forge plant can you describe what the inside would have looked like? Clean, smoky, dirty?
No, it wasn't too bad then because it was all, the smoke would all be over on the forging side.
Okay.
And this was all machining over
So
here.
it was reasonably
clean. And in the machining side, the furnaces for heat treating the shells had oil quench, but they was exhausted. You know, when they come up out of the oil, that was
okay.
So I thought it was quite nice.
How about safety practices at that time, Wayne? What kinds of things did people have to do? Did you?
Well, we went into, I don't know, just one, but we went into glasses, safety shoes.
Okay.
I still wear. I think it's damn good idea.
You bet.
Both
Yeah.
classes and
Yeah.
I don't know particular. I think it was around the 50s, wasn't it, when we went into class program.
I really can't answer that. I don't know.
Well, we lost a few eyes over there, and I think it's well worth it that we tried to save some. I wouldn't want to lose one of mine.
Well, and what happened after the war?
Well, it was all converted over back into car production machinery. While we were the option plant there, we had contracts with Cadillac, American Motors. We made cranks for both Cadillac. Funny thing, Cadillac would never give you a full contract. They would give you maybe half of one, but they always wanted somebody else to make the other half. So if you went on strike, they could still sell Cadillac. American Motors, we made cranks for them.
Okay.
And let's see, made a lot of for the outboard motors.
Oh.
Back during the war, had made the connectors for tanks. We made clumsy little things. They were easy to make, and we made tons of them, tons and tons of them. I don't know. Must sell them to a lot of tanks. We tried to make the car hinges. That didn't work out too good for the doors.
What was wrong? Why didn't that work?
Well, we would cold shut them.
Oh.
You know from that what that is.
Sure.
They frown on those.
Right. Yeah.
And then till we were going on, cast was moving in on us real fast and real bad. And we were called up to Bud's office one time. He said, found out we have to take a quarter out of our, which I think would be theoretically on one side or the other, 23 and a half, 24, or 27. We've got to take that out of our connecting rod if we're going to maintain the production for the olds. We were making connecting rods for Cadillac too. We kept the contract for a while on that because we could double end weigh them. We discovered how we could do both ends, the crank end against the pin end, and make it come out so that the engine wouldn't wobble or the crank in
keep
there.
the vibration down.
Yeah. And it'd be smooth. They did go in by weight anyway. They go and put in the engine several patterns. In the trimmer, they pierced the pin end. Don't you didn't have to spend a lot of money drilling. All you had to do was just run a drill through it and a broach, and that was done. It was good, but finally we lost cranks to cast. Oh, we heard scary tales about that, but this is where Plant 3. But anyway, they kept the contract. And we sold our presses to International because we had been making, tractor end cranks and truck cranks and heaven knows what all for them.
Now, Wayne, early on when we started with cranks right after the war, was that all drop forged or steam hammered?
Yeah.
Do you remember, can you describe one of those kinds of operations?
Yeah, we had, we got these new furnaces.
Okay.
And I think they ran about $1 million apiece. And they would heat, they tell me, 40 homes in the city of Lansing on the coldest day of the year. They were super duper. Pick up the billet, and there was 3 rows, if I remember. They'd take it over to the right row and put it in, pick one up and bring it out. that was a hot one for Forge.
Okay.
And you run through the press or a hammer,
Mm-hmm.
trim it.
What did you do in a press? What happened in a press?
Well, you block it, then you finish it. Get the meat all, and you call it meat. You get the metal all in the right place where the throws are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so to fill the die good,
Yeah.
blowing, crank stuff.
When you did you have to hit it more than once in each of those die cavities?
Just one.
Just one.
Then this is made over here, and block it over here,
Okay.
finish it over here.
Okay. And the blocking was, what was it?
This is just move the meat down to where you
Kinda
want
made
it to fill the die over here. Yeah.
Bulgy looking.
Yeah, you gotta get the flange over here, the
Mhm.
gear end down here, the throws and the weight.
But it wouldn't look like a crank at that point, would it, or would it?
After it came out.
No, after the
before-
blocking.
No, it looked like something you'd
Okay.
throw away.
Like a bulgy billet.
Yeah.
maybe. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
And those were run on, how big were the machines?
Oh, that must have been about 15,000 too.
Okay.
They were big.
Mhm.
Because the fires, they always told me that the crank was 30 feet on the ground up. It was 30 feet in the ground below.
Mm-hmm.
Took that much space underneath.
Uh-huh. Okay, then after they went through the blocking and the finishing,
Trimmer
then it was trim.
hung out a line.
Okay.
And it would cool on its way over to us, and we
Mhm.
would heat treat it.
Okay.
We just take it right off the same conveyor, load it in the furnace.
All right. Would it be cold at that point in time?
Oh yeah, and then the thing seemed like it
All
went
right.
clear to Grand Legend back, but it didn't.
Okay.
Funny thing though. Oh, that wasn't so damn funny then. On Saturday, the bull gang had been in and they took part of this conveyor guard off underneath this crank line
Yeah.
to get this big press down the aisle. Remember Don Brainerd?
Sure.
Yeah.
Safety guy.
Yeah. He came down one day and he saw this guard wasn't on there. That was between our axles and the furnaces. And he immediately went over and stopped the furnaces and the hammers and the pressure.
Uh-oh.
Boy, I'll tell you, Bud come down on a dead run. He wanted to know why. I said, you fix that, we'll start it back up again.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, there was people flying around there with
I can
torches,
imagine.
welders, and
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah. I can imagine. So the safety guy did have a little bit of power.
Don did. Everyone, I think, respected Don.
Mm-hmm.
There was no giving up for him.
Hey, Wayne, when you after the war, what were you doing then specifically? What
Well,
was
we
your
went
task?
into, or I was put into, called clean and finish.
All right.
Was the pickle tank still there when you
Oh
were?
yeah.
Yeah, the big 3
Tell me about the pickle tank.
Well, there was, mercuric and seemed like hydrochloric mixed together.
Acids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was that black tank there covered with tar, and
Yeah.
that's where the cranks were pickled as they come
Okay.
down to the other after heat treat,
The pickling. What was the reason for the pickling?
removing the scale,
All right.
heat treat scale, or if you're doing it in the vats over there, the forging scale,
Mm-hmm.
before you inspect it to look coal shuts or
Mm-hmm.
not filled, something like that.
Now the pickle room, I remember, seems like it had three of these
Messed units.
big
You just pick them
basket
up.
picker uppers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They take them around and round. It's all
Yeah.
run by steam.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't like the idea, but
That room always reminded me of a mess, as I remember.
hey, you weren't far wrong, I don't think, but it done the job.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it was a lot cheaper, I think, than because we bought alloy shot for the shot blast. It
Okay.
was copper wire. And of course, that had alloy wire like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Cut into just little pieces.
Yeah.
And of course, those have sharp edges on them, and they would hit the scale. The scale didn't know what hit it, but it moved.
Yeah. So we had a shot blaster too.
Oh yeah, we had a 72-inch. You could walk right up through that 72-inch barrel on it.
Yeah.
154-inch.
Okay.
We had a well, that one with a conveyor going through for
kind of a
long
cab
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. For big long cranks and stuff like that. Those were made for international harvester. They were long. Some of those diesel.
Yeah.
Some of the little tractor cranks that carry in your pocket. GMC truck cranks. They were just normal.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, Chevrolet would send us down some heat treat for them.
Okay.
They get caught in a bind furnace somewhere. Send out truckload. The little 6-cylinder cranks. They look funny at ours, but when we had a V8 or 6, seemed like we had to drill. If we drilled 1 inch, 5-inch diameter, that we would take out 6-inch ounces or inches, whatever you want to call it, to balance the crank.
Oh yeah.
But the V8s we had to just center them, or give them a point for center.
Yes.
And when we give up American Motors, oh, they cried. They didn't know where to go to for cranks.
Really?
Well, we bragged a little because they really liked our work. Then we, we inspected parts. At that time, we had spindles, plane arms, knuckle supports. That was all part of the front end steering.
Yeah.
And we were making drive shafts for the hydromatics.
Okay.
3-point, 4-point.
What 3-point, 4-point is what?
A drive shaft, yeah. A triangle on one head or a square on the head. You know?
All right.
Like we call them potato mashers.
All right.
Remember we was working over one night. This on a weekend.
Okay.
And I'm going to name the trucking company, but it came into our shipping dock there. And Detroit had to have some of these triangled data measures.
Okay.
He said, seemed like we're tired about flat 10 because those suckers are heavy. And he said, now, is that all you're going to put in the truck? He said, yeah, you got your weight. That's it. And he said, look, my boss is paying me double time to drive down here empty, pick this load up, get it back to Detroit. I don't know. I know where the weigh stations are.
Oh.
So you got those extra over there, that whole gone right there? Well, don't let them rust. Put them on my truck.
Oh, my goodness.
Bless his heart, and they went.
Oh, gosh. Wonder he didn't have a flat tire.
Well, or the semi.
Yeah. Yeah. Wayne, at some point in time, were you still on production yourself then?
No, I was on salary.
You were on salary. When did you go on to the salary job? Do you remember sort of when that would have been?
June of 1942.
42. So you were only there in the production side of the house, relatively short period of time, so to speak.
Yes.
Okay. And how many folks did you have working for you when you were?
Oh, I was out there and I clean and finish.
Yeah.
With the pickle and the shop last
Right.
week. 74, 75.
Wow.
And half of them were women, or a little more than half. The other segment was left was men.
How did you ever keep track of that many folk?
Oh, might as well have a horse and ride it around, But most of them had hardness testing machines, which was Gogans.
Mm-hmm.
If the material had been heat treated, it had to be Gogan before the shipment. The steering parts had to be checked, the heat treated and checked. No, what it was hectic, but we got along.
Mm-hmm. You remember who your boss was there?
Oh. One time, George Sandberg was moved up. He had been over at the main plant during the war, and they moved him back on salary. He came back. I believe he was at one time. That's about the time that Corbin came over.
Okay. Do you remember who preceded Corbin? And you remember who was there prior to Elmer Corbin?
No. Do you?
I should, but I don't.
Well, I should too. It was, I know Bugs Dakin.
Dakin, that was it.
I believe that was the point where that he had retired.
All right.
They put the elevator in after Bugs retired. Now, you know, he was crippled.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a bad leg or bad foot or something. He'd have to walk up all the way to the cafeteria and down to his office.
It was huge.
And after they went, then they put the elevator in.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which everyone used.
Yeah. Except it was slower than molasses injection.
Oh, yeah. Well,
couldn't tell whether you were going up or going down.
You might as well wait for it. I think a lot of them will work on the company time did.
Now, did you stay then in clean and finish for quite a period of time?
Yes, it was about 1957. They were selling upsetters, presses out, and a 5,000-pound hammer went. I know where it went because I had a friend or relative working on that sucker in California.
Why were we getting rid of the machinery?
No work.
Oh, okay.
Other forge plants were competing with us, you know. Forge Lansing was forge capital of the world.
Yeah. Okay.
And everything was going cast.
So that had started back then.
It began to slow down. Yeah, we sold some upsetters until they decided that they could make an automatic upsetter.
All right.
We made axle. But we had 9 just in that one row. They were all 3 inchers and 4s when we made shell casing. The furnaces were moved out to a better place to heat treat after Nethaway damn near burned the plant down.
What happened there?
No one was checking the quench, and these shells came out, and as you come out of the furnace, hot about 1650.
Yeah.
These fingers are supposed to run into every shell, pick it up, now, the oil, quench. They didn't go down.
Oh, no.
They stuck at the oil level.
Oh.
And all these shells made a beautiful wick.
Yeah.
So after the fire, the beams up there had little loops on them.
It really got hot.
They sagged.
Yeah. Gosh, how did they ever put that out?
Well, with CO2 and spray steam systems and all that.
Sure couldn't dump water on them.
No, you don't use water. Although we were always proud when I went to the heat treat, we'd always put every fire out before the fire company come. They were called several times, but we always had the fire out.
You had your own fire engine over there, didn't you?
Yeah, that's a good one too. It was an expensive sucker. Set up there, and they didn't waste any time when you hollered fire, and they come. They were pretty well experienced at it.
Yeah.
And we had burner operators. That's one thing the main plant never had. And I went over there a couple of times when they'd had roofs blow out or blow in. But they never felt it was essential that they have burner operators. But we did. We had one on every shift.
Every furnace that had a...
No, each shift.
Each shift had a man. Okay.
And you just keep checking that when we went into carburizing, we found out that they were very essential. I did. But any type of little power failure like that and your furnaces went out.
Ooh.
Now we had just annealers down there that operated on 4% gas would explode. But we used converters, catalysts, and made it up to 28%. And so it'd be a good way for a rocket to the moon if you had a vehicle up.
Okay, so we started moving out machinery then in the 50s to some degree.
We sold some, yeah, about 57 along in there. But I began to wonder where my job was going. Then they were talking about differentials then.
All right.
So they were going to take the clean and finish part and the shop blast and that stuff down to the other end, at the end of the hammer shop out there. So they moved all that, and then I went over and worked in the bumper department for Vic Perry. Now, for my money, Vic was a smart dude. He knew. Do you know him?
Sure.
Is that your opinion? You don't have to convince yourself.
Yeah, I didn't know him I know him only as a very short period of time because I was not there super long. So I knew who he was.
I got my best raise from him.
You did?
Yeah, I was scared to death that I wasn't doing my work, but he said I was, paid me for it. But that has no bearing here.
Yeah.
But you go out in your department in the morning before he got there, and you look around, and this was done maintenance-wise. And when he came in, he had the brief press under his arm, went in the office, and everyone took their turn to talk to him. Everything all right? No, they didn't get this fixed, and they didn't get that fixed. Lay the paper down, and he'd walk right out and go around down to Wiley Beeman and Bill Bale. Oh, brother. And he'd bring him right to the collar down there and get the jobs fixed. That's what I liked about it. And all he had to do was describe accurately what the hell was wrong.
Yeah.
And he knew upsetters, presses. We had a complicated bending machine back there for bumper bars. Supposed to form them. It's supposed to be a 3-man operation. It was a wild.
See, all of that bumper bar business, do you remember where that was made? Where in the plant that was?
Well, yeah, here was the wall, and over here is where they built the Cutlass at that time.
Okay.
201, 202. Then come right back over here on this side, and there was the aisle here, and they started the bumper bars.
Okay.
Because we were welding them on now, so they didn't. But we made them before 10 years of service. Hell, we was making 15, 18 years. Always make less than you would rights for service. And they never had to fit the gauge. Just point at the gauge and look fairly well. Because when the mechanic was repairing the car, he would take a crowbar and pry him into shape because the car sinks or settles, shifts. But the bumper, or the stabilizer bar was a little ball of wax. remember Cadillac sending down a gauge. The gauge, the one was made for them.
Mm-hmm.
They asked me one day, "Hey, you're in our bars right now, aren't you?" "Yeah, sure." "But they don't. You aren't using our gauge that we sent down." I said, "No. Why? Your gauge is damn good." Oh boy, then they didn't even hit the floor. They was running right along in the air. We finally shipped it back to them and kept on, and they used the bars.
Uh-huh. Well, you guys must have had a gauge or something, didn't
Yeah,
you?
we
Check
used
all that
we
stuff?
made our own gauge.
Yeah, sure.
To the print.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought theirs was made to the print, but I don't know what print they were using. Must be a Russian.
Past model.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Take me then in from the 50s kind of on, Wayne. What was going on? Now we started getting ready to put in differential stuff, apparently, someplace in there.
Yeah, this was called the Chevy hubcaps.
Mm-hmm.
They were coming in with their skates on,
Okay.
roller skates with their Chevy hubcaps.
Mm-hmm. And
But
why were they called that?
Because a lot of Chevy people came with it, one that was supposed to know
All right.
how to build transmissions, differentials.
All right.
Well, we wanted differentials. And so then we had to put in carburizers for them. That was, they weren't too well liked, most of them.
Oh, really?
Really.
Okay.
Because they came in and kind of stirred up the nest, threw the twigs out, I guess, the little ones. But finally, we got good ones over there. Excuse me. I don't know. We carburized the parts for them.
You were still in heat treat?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The pinion, the ring gear, side gears was all carburized.
Mm-hmm.
After they cut the side gear on machined, but we forged the ring gears,
Mm-hmm.
pinions. They come in with an attitude that they were, well, I don't know how to describe it, but it just wasn't the Forge Plant custom,
Mm-hmm.
I was saying. Our type of life, I guess. Hard to give up. But anyway, had to put some new ones on salary over there.
Mm-hmm.
Brownie, and I knew his father, Indian.
Mm-hmm.
He turned out to be a real nice guy. I knew him. He had to be. But there were some others, and then, remember there's a program where the Olds paid $90,000 to teach us how to talk to employees.
Hmm.
You remember that?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Did it work?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm block-headed or square-headed. I don't know. But I didn't. I thought I knew how to talk to them without all that.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them what you know. Be honest about it. Get along with them. Had some odd characters over 30 years. Believe that, too. Had one fellow that I fired. He just, well, shall we say, if it rained, I don't know if he'd come in or not.
Mm.
On the afternoon shift, he had a hole in the fence, and we were not on Hathaway, but near the,
Oh, yeah. Back in the plant there.
yeah,
Mhm.
the chicken plant there,
Mhm.
where Westgate Chicken
Mhm.
thing. We
Mhm.
lived on one of the streets. Sometimes he never come back from dinner. So I fired him. He said, I know where you live, and you have a picture window in front, and I have a rifle. Well, what do you expect? Sit there and look out the window in the dark, see his shining face and rifle out there? Possible. But he didn't, I guess.
Because the window was still there.
Still window, and I'm still here, I guess. If he did, he missed me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what else can I help you with?
Wayne, when did you retire?
Well, when they, after we come up early,
Okay,
in 1974.
Very good. May of 74. All right.
Well, that's when they came up with, they asked me to break in a man. I broke in 3.
Okay.
Well, I had some that wasn't that much trouble.
Yeah.
Just give them responsibility to do on the floor while they're out there. And, Bud, Don wasn't there, I don't think, but it must have been Damon.
Okay.
Bill Damon.
Bill Damon, yeah.
Asked me to write, cover the heat treat and the clean and finish safety book.
Okay. What were you doing? Updating the ones they had, or
They
making
didn't have any.
They were making a brand new one.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that an idea that if you were new and you came in as a foreman, you could read this book and have some idea which way was up.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them, hate to say, come in and didn't know which way was up. The GM people were good.
Mm-hmm.
You respect them. But the ones they hire off the street to give you some qualms.
Mm-hmm. And you were still there in heat treat and clean and finish when you left, Wayne?
Yeah, they came up to the point where we had people I had 3 of them for if they wanted them performing.
Mm-hmm.
Wrote the 3 books. And they come down one day and he said, "Hey, I'll give you a nice deal if you would like to sign and retire." Now, it hadn't been over just maybe 6 months previous to this that we'd been up to a conference with the Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
They pounded the table and he said, "You think you're going to get out of here without dying before you're 60 with pension? You are crazy." I got a better deal by going out the way it did.
Uh-huh. Well, it was during that oil crunch, or the oil embargo thing.
Yeah, and no, they were just no business. They couldn't sell cars, couldn't even give them away.
Mm-hmm.
And we had people running around drawing money. So there's 313 of us went out that day to sign here.
Mm-hmm. When you left, Wayne, how had the numbers of people working for you changed any? Were you down from that 70 number that you had in the earlier days, or?
Oh yeah, heavens, in the heat treat, you couldn't take care of that many people.
Okay.
See, we had about 22, 23 in the heat treat. You one man to a furnace, a burner operator.
Yeah.
You on maintenance, well, you got your whistle to blow for bull gang, electrician, plumber, millwright, so on. Machine repair. They was in a crib just back of us at the end of the building.
Yeah.
But one thing was real clever. I don't know whether you knew it or not, but back previous to that, to neutralize at the riverbank, they put in gauges, pyrometers, to check the acidity of the acid that went down there and if there's any oil in it. And we paid a terrific fine if they caught us. So we had all this acid in the acid room that we had to neutralize with lime to get it sweet enough to drink, to put her down with the catfish. And so the fisher body was making their own acetylene gas, and they were using a type of lime over there to get make the gas for their welding.
Mm-hmm.
They put it in a big old tank truck, hauled it over, dumped it in the pit for us. We pumped it out, mixed, diluted the acid, run it to the river. Everyone was happy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was terrific.
Kill two birds with one stone.
Well, with one bag of lime.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I thought that was great.
Uh-huh. See, did you have to deal with Fisher Body at all on anything?
No, it's
Okay. We got our steam from them, didn't we?
yeah, they come across there, but had to deal with the railroad one day when I was up in the bumper department. They were supposed to bring in that day. It was supposed to be switched in 2 carloads of stabilizer steel.
Mm-hmm.
I had all these people just about ready to run out of work. Company didn't want us to send people home if we had work,
Mm-hmm.
which is, they're in there to earn a living, same
Sure.
as we were, which I thought was a good, compatible idea. So I went out to the steel yard, Bean Balk was out there. I don't know whether he was really interested in my steel or not, but he said, call the train, switch station out there. Sure, we'll fetch it right in. Good. So I told Dean to get his crane operator to come in and give me a couple of bundles. You know, that was before dinner. Came in about 2 o'clock, and we paid $50 a car to bring those 2 cars in. And they were going to bring it in by 4 o'clock for free.
Mm-hmm. Big deal.
Right. Yeah.
But can you think back to any interesting happenings that happened during your time there, Wayne, that would be of interest to folks in the future?
Well, yes. So now you hit the nail on the sponge or sponge. You can't drive a nail with sponge to how hard to soak it. But on the midnight shift, I went back to the stores and back to where material handling was back there. And here was a little oiler out of the hammer shop over there.
Okay.
Now, if they have an oil can in their hand, they have a pass to go anywhere in the plant.
All right.
Right?
Okay.
He was back there and he's muttering to Charlie Knapp. No, Knapp wasn't there. He worked days. There was somebody else in there, Hank somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, hey, what are you muttering about? He said, well, the company shut me down from making coffee. And I said, well, why? So he said, well, they blame my coffee. For about 3 people in the hammer shop came down with hepatitis, and they're blaming me because they think it's my coffee. Well, of course not. He went to Dawn Donuts, got the day old, and put them in little bags, and he sold those with his coffee at night. And he was doing a thriving business, I believe, until the hepatitis hit. And I said, well, did they put you out of business? He said, no, they want me to go up to the restroom, toilet, get the water. There's an outlet up there. But he said, I tried it, and the coffee don't taste good at all. The guys won't buy it. I said, where have you been getting the water? Well, the water tower out there, he said, it's easy to get. It comes right into the plant, a cooling tower. God, you know what's in there? Probably snakes, frogs, leaves, all kinds of trash that blow in the air. No wonder that ruined the coffee taste of the good water, the pure water.
He was just getting it out of the cooling tower.
Oh, the cooling tower.
Oh, my gracious sakes. Isn't that something?
Oh, I know it is. But we used to have good times. The employees, I think, ruined it for most of them. They used to give us, lately, or back in the 60s, they gave us a car to drive, new car, for 2 weeks. So it drove the neighbors crazy. They thought the doctor was there
Mm-hmm.
at our house, but some had to drive them to Hawaii and back,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
smash them up
Oh,
and
yeah.
turn them into tanks dry and dirty. But we really enjoyed that. The company picnics, that was always a highlight of the whole year. The Christmas party, boy, that was
Okay.
you went to them,
Oh,
didn't you?
sure. Yeah, you bet.
What was it, 1 out of 3 got a gift?
Mm-hmm.
And a good one, too.
Mm-hmm. And I went 18 years before I got my first one.
Oh, you didn't get your mouth right, just like fishing, I guess.
Yeah, right.
I used to go to a football game, and we bought oil from Montgomery Oil Company out of Detroit. It's just a little family deal, husband and wife, and it was dye oil or swap. It had everything in it except oil, I believe. But once a year, he'd get with Vic and make arrangements for a ball game and a good dinner. The London Chop House or the Grand Woods Country Club.
You take all you guys out there.
Yeah, out of Vic's department, upsetters.
Yeah.
Then we get to, I got to mention the making of axles.
Okay.
We put in those 2 big upsetters there in the end of the hammer shaft, and that was manual. Or no, it was automatic.
Okay.
Now this is clever. You put the top billet in the top, and this thing, live die, dead die, all. And this thing is dropping all the time to make an axle.
Like I had a mechanical hand in there that was moving it around.
I'm glad it was there, not mine. Because I couldn't be that smart all that time. And we used to roll them up there out of a ringer. You ever see them do that?
Get the extension on the shaft.
Get them at the right length and all that little bit. Then put the flange on them.
Yeah.
Now this, you put the flange on first. Then they sent them over to us, and we made the axle on.
Yeah, no, at some point we changed from hot to cold.
Yeah, we extruded them. That was clever. Chrysler, I don't know how many times they sent their people over here to figure that out. In fact, there was some Japanese in there one day. And when they come by that hot soap bin, they said, "Dad, hot soap." Hell, I don't think they were going to take a bath, but that's what it was. We didn't use it for lubricant. That was hot soap. And you get the water, cool, and put a coating of soap on there. That was a good lubricant. Yeah. And we extrude them under 3,600 pounds of oil pressure. Check them with these scientific gauges that tell you whether it had any so-called chevrons in them. They did actually.
What was a chevron?
It looked like just chevron on a sergeant's sleeve, 3 of them.
You're like a tear. It's like a tear in the middle.
In the middle, hollow. You can't see it on the outside or anywhere around, but it's in there.
It's inside.
And this gauge picks up a bubble, sends sound down through there and back again. If it's in there, then you got it. And you throw it out, break it.
Did the extrusion process work better than the old hot rolling process?
Quicker and easier. If you want to build a station wagon, you just put a step in there, but a shoulder, you called it, on the axle. So that I thought that was real clever.
Okay. Any other, like we changed at one point in time from hammers to pressing crankshafts too.
Yeah, well, that was
6,000-ton presses.
Yeah, and $1 million for them thing. And the furnace was $1 million.
The big round furnace one.
Yeah, that was the ones where we went in, put the billet in, took one out, and what was production, about 100 a day? Or 800 a day? About 800 if I remember. Yeah, they was.
Okay, what else you got on your little list there that you may
let's see,
that we maybe haven't talked about that might be of interest?
Well, we'd already been to 35 over there.
Yeah.
And
Did that?
they considered us as foreigners
Well.
because we had to go over to 52 to the canteen if we wanted anything.
Uh-huh.
Building 36 wasn't, it was black all the time. That was the old engine plant.
Yeah.
At the old.
What's that J2 say?
Oh, that was, it was a wild card. We had one. It's a little odd bit, but our oldest son was graduating at the time, and he was out there polishing. He and a neighbor boy to go to the prom, and I'll tell you, that looked like a million sitting out there. But I was out there and I said, complimenting him on it. Hey, that nice looking car. Kids are going to enjoy that. Boy. But Dad, he said, where do you put the gas in this thing? We've got to do. I looked all over and we can't find where they'll put the gas. I said, well, now there's a Earl's down there on the street. Sold a Texaco. I said, you take it down to Earl's and you tell him to put in $5 worth of gas. And you watch where it goes. And he said, no, Dad. I'll find out later.
That was the one that was under the taillight.
Yeah.
Of Wayne B. Steinkamp of Ocala, Florida. The recording was made by Jim Walkinshaw of the Oldsmobile History Center on January 30th, 1989 at Wayne's home. This is tape number 2 of 2 tapes. Pick up where you left off there, Wayne.
Don't remember. I was rattling along here. Our son was...
We were talking about your car.
And my son, after he came back from the Navy, when the Chevrolet came in and they wanted everything to go on a computer count.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever the machine ran, it went right up to the computer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they had conveyors in there that marveled at brain power. Our storage bank was over the furnaces, and there's only about 122 to 132 up there.
Nice mower.
Yeah, we had cotton belts up there. We should have had nylon, but the cotton didn't last too long. Too expensive for nylon. But he helped wire for the computers up there. And what? I bet you knew him. I can't think of his name, but he had an Aunt Peg. She had a wooden leg. And she could get twice the wear of a pair of nylons than any other woman could. He always told me that every time I went up there. Oh.
See, that computer stuff you were talking about, what was that called? Telecontrol?
Something like that. Yeah, it would count everything that you brought.
Everything you made. Did it work?
Yeah, I think so. But because ring gears and pinions, was only 8 to a basket, so you're on a basket and you multiply by 8.
Yeah.
And these things, you punch a button and things would come around, I don't know, at East Lansing, and then come back dropped in by your machine.
Through that big
That's what everything's proud about is the differential. Had 4 blind people working for him.
Okay.
They were there every day. And they had to go by our department and the edge of our department to go up to the pickle room, turn left, go down to the aisle go into the right to the press shop, then left to get through the press shop down to, the press shop wasn't there, that was all machining.
Yeah.
I was out there one afternoon when they come in. Now, those trucks in there didn't make much noise.
All electric.
electric trucks, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they heard that. They didn't know whether he was going up or down.
Mm-hmm.
He was going backwards, but they didn't know it. So they stopped. Yeah, go ahead. I said, hey, fellas, it's all right. He's going the other way. Thank you. Oh, either way. Down to their department. And they worked and they done good work.
How did they not wander off an aisle?
I don't know. They didn't have no string. They didn't drop breadcrumbs or anything like Hans and Gretzel or anything. But I don't know. They learned it.
Isn't that amazing?
That I was over on a service call one time to by 75 over there at the main plant where they were coining steering knuckle.
Oh, up in 21, axle plant.
Well, they coined them instead of machining them.
Right.
Yeah. And they had 4 blind people running the presses.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrific. Of course, they had dead men on them, dead arm.
Yeah.
So when the press come down, they
pulled your hands out.
Terrific. But it was so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But they wouldn't be afraid to run with the suckers. It was the noise and the confusion and everything.
Yeah. Did the guys in the hammer shops use anything for noise, ear protection, or any of that stuff?
Yeah, that came later, about 2 years before I left.
All right.
That's when they had the decibel level going through the shop. Seems to me about 2 years.
But prior to that, folks just lived with the noise.
Well, they put their own plugs in or whatever they wanted. If they couldn't stand the noise or didn't like it, they put their own ear plugs in. That was even in machining. Some of the
was it? Did you ever have a furnace collapse or explode or any of those kinds of things happen?
No, I didn't have any explode. We would have to be re-bricked, or a brick would drop out, get in the track or something, alloy. We constantly had an order in to buy new alloy. Every month we get new alloy in. That way you didn't have to spend $20 million to furnish it every 3 or 4 years. You just had a little bit coming in every month from the foundries and poured the alloy for their trays, track, all that. No, having the burner operator, thank goodness we never had an explosion.
Did you run the furnaces 7 days a week, or did they?
Sometimes we did. Okay. Sometimes only 6. That was 5 or 6. Yeah. Depending on production need, you know.
What would you do on the weekend? Idle the furnace or shut it right off?
We'd usually take the gas out, the explosive part. Yeah. And, what did we call it? Well, you take the gas out and just let it burn. Idle at probably maybe 1,300-1,400.
Okay, so you did keep it hot. You didn't let it just go to cool.
No, if you let it cool, then your expansion comes out different a lot of times.
Yeah. What happened if you were off for a protracted period, like during a strike or?
Then we drain it and shut them off.
Just shut them right down. During all that period, Wayne, there were after the war, we had a big long strike.
Yes, I remember that.
What happened?
Well, we went out, the day before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And all the way out of the plant, they said, well, you wait till Monday, they'll be calling us in. Sunday, you'll get a call that they want you back here. They can't get along without us. Well, I hate to swallow that stuff, it gives you the sore throat. And they didn't. Man, that was rugged. I finally got a job. We lived in Lansing. Got a job as a butcher.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just set my money into the international meat cutters and got my book back. I was a journeyman meat cutter.
Just like that.
And I can't cut up a side of beef. I can grind hamburger. I can slice lunch meat. I can make sausage. That was terrible.
And everybody was kind of out. The plant was just
shut down.
Nobody there.
No, and we were out 119 days.
Were there pickets and those kinds of things around
Oh
the
yeah,
shop?
that's where I got one of my meals each day. I'd go pick it at night,
Uh-huh.
and he was on the he was an electrician, Price. He drove around. We drove around the plant.
Mm-hmm.
I always picked it with him because we could ride around.
Mm-hmm.
But I also got one meal over there every day. What merchants donated to him.
Okay.
Soup and
Yeah.
donuts, all
Yeah.
that old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they put me back on hourly rate. I had my chance of taking my service, getting paid for it, or
Mm-hmm.
continue then with the.
So you went off the salary rank back to the hourly side
Yeah.
then when that happened.
And I was off salary for, see, the strike ended,
It was 120 days or something.
yeah,
wasn't it?
119
Yeah.
days. Curly? Oh, June, now you're going to embarrass me.
Well, no, just a minute. If it was
June, what?
4 months, that would have been.
Yeah, we came out to,
Yeah, so that if you were Turkey Day, then it would be December, January, February, it'd be sometime around the end of March.
no, this was in June. I remember distinctly the
Okay.
day I went back to work.
Okay.
This is terrible.
No, that's perfectly all right.
Curly, please help me out.
When he went back to work after the big long strike in 45 or 6.
46.
Yeah.
It was June the, no, 16th, wasn't it? No, it was Bob's birthday. Remember, he was born that day. They wanted me to work overtime. They wanted me to work overtime that night because
Uh-huh.
they were short. Doing the fly their kite. Wife was in the hospital with a new boy. So I had to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. A few saving bonds we had all went to the dentist bills. I never had so many damn dentist bills in my life.
Uh-huh.
Did in that period.
Was a cold winter for folks then.
Yeah. It was up on Lansing Avenue.
Mm-hmm. Now, some other strikes after that
Didn't affect me, but I
Didn't
went
affect
back
you.
on
All right.
salary. The
Okay.
but the September that year that Lockerbie asked for me back. Yeah, I went back on salary in September.
Okay. And
They brought in Hunt and Sanborn and some of those dudes back from the main plant
all right.
after the war,
Yeah.
and they wanted me on hourly rate to break them in.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Then the steel strikes and those kinds
Yeah.
of things that we had later on just didn't affect you as an
No,
individual.
we went visiting to
Yeah.
Buick or
Uh-huh.
transmission or some
All
GM
right.
plant that time. It was
Okay.
a rule.
Yeah.
59 was down to Buick, seeing their checking their plant. They were down.
Mm-hmm.
The manager said, "Well, the 59 hadn't been showed yet," but he said, "I know you make more cars than we do. I know you sell more cars than we do. That's going to change. You wait and see."
Right. Been a long time. It hasn't changed yet.
Right. We're still trying to keep end of it.
Right. What happened during the transmission fire? Anything? Was that anything affecting the Forge plant? 53, I think that was when the Detroit transmission plant, the hydromet
Yeah,
plant burnt down.
well, we were down for a while. We just hold up on their contract.
Okay. But you did quit making those triangles or
Yeah, potato mashers.
potato mashers, yeah.
But then back during the strike, when they first started sending me down, they would send one employee hourly down with me and give me a company car every time we got a complaint from them. like Detroit Transmission, they would send me down there on riot pail. Man, it's a wicked part of town down there. But anyway, I go down there. They had a foreman down there that I think Olds was paying his salary. After the two of us would get down there, and he said, now look at the trim. This is absurd. How can you send that stuff down here? We can't machine that stuff. Well, why don't we start grinding it? So he set us up to a grinder, and they started grinding on it.
Mhm.
I'd say, now, how do these look? The bottom of these look a lot better. They must have changed the trimmer about that time. Like, how they do look better.
Oh.
They said, well, knock it off, go back home.
It didn't have any gauges or anything that would tell you whether it was okay or not? It was just by looks?
Yeah, as the die washes, you know.
Sure.
Then your flash sticks out here.
Further,
And it just tapers in, and if you don't trim it right in there with a big slash, then you're going to trim out here and leave that burr on there. And they didn't like to have the Pepperroy tools hit that in their machining.
Tear it up.
I don't know why. Narrow-minded, probably.
Tears them up, that's all.
Narrow-minded, yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, let's see. What else can I think about that would be interesting?
See what I got there. That's done. That's done. Well, I will say that the Olds is real nice. I asked for permission to take a tape recorder in one time. Wow, that's unheard of. But for safety, yes. All right. So I did a tape recorder. Went around to the beach area that we call Perry. Milton Nye.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
I knew Mill.
Oh, you knew Mill?
Yes.
Good egg.
Yes.
And I would start the recorder like you're doing, and I'd say, take his picture.
Mm-hmm.
We had a camera. Take his picture on a slide. What does safety mean to you?
Okay.
So you see, we had to give a safety meeting ourselves about twice a year, maybe up there.
As a foreman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my idea. And they gave me permission to do it, and they thought that was good. So from there, I jumped into, hey, can I take a movie camera in the shop? Why? No. Boy. Well, I wanted to, I got a crazy idea. I can't get it done till around August. This was in spring. I want to make a safety movie. We'll go with you when you want to send. So I get any trade secrets or anything in here, but I'll use my oldest son, our oldest son. He'll be the employee part, and I'll make you a safety film. All right. Can't think who went with us, but he and my son, our son, and I went in. Safety man, I think, was with us. Bill Damon. Shot all the things in there on a Saturday morning. It was nice bright. But the damn aluminum on the furnaces absorbed all the camera film.
Really?
Yeah. It was amazing how that just blanked out the whole damn picture almost.
Oh, gee.
I photographed him. We went through one day in the life of an employee. He done everything wrong. Anything you could think of, he was doing it wrong. We even staged a false accident out of it. He's come out of the driveway, damn near hit a car. but I changed the speed in the camera, and I had the relative drive the other car.
It made it look like they were really
Just damn near missed. Then it went down the highway at Saginaw Street, stop sign. Looked for cops everywhere. When they wasn't showing, well, then I had him
go right through
I
it.
stopped. But I guess it turned out to be kind of, I hate to say it, but rather a success because Bud said, "Do you mind if you show that to the hourly employees?" I said, "No, if you think it'll do them any good." He said, "Well," he said later, he said, "We changed our mind. If we do that, some of them are going to take offense to it as being." That's right, maybe.
Well, where did it end up? Where did the film end up?
Well, then he said, "Can I buy the film?" And I said, "No, Bud. I done it. I paid for the film. It's all mine. And I'll keep it." And I still have it.
You still have it?
Yeah, and maybe a year later, he came down to the department one day and had me slip paper down like that and walked on. I looked at it, and here's a check for $25 for the film. I spent more than that, but that was a beautiful thing.
That happened in the early 70s, just before you left? Is that when that was going on?
No, that was back, must have been in the 60s.
All right, in the 60s. Okay.
Because our son Bernie must have been about 68, 69 graduating. Right, kid? 59. Well, it'd be in the early 60s then.
All right.
About that time.
Okay.
Well, he wasn't in the Navy at 60 out. Had to be just before then.
Okay.
Where the hell does the time go?
Flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sometimes you wonder.
Yeah.
Well, you got any other questions?
Well, I'm kind of running dry. I'm going to ask you a little bit about this picture here in a minute, but
Oh, well, then I can't help you too much.
okay, well, you can help me a little here. This is a photograph. It's got a 1960s date on the back.
Yeah, I think Gannon took that right out of the lab.
All right.
There was the lab.
Okay, so this is down in,
Basso was right there.
right in front of the lab office.
Yeah,
down 206.
time clock was right in here.
Okay.
Right down here.
And this was a typical retirement.
I
sort of
I
thing?
think this was a retirement for.
Whoever that guy was
Yeah,
in
right
the middle.
He
And
must have been on the day shift because there's Reevy.
no, wait a minute. Which one's Reevy?
This one right there.
The guy with the black shirt to the
Yeah.
left of him.
This
Okay.
is Uncle John.
The guy with the white hat, or the hard hat.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's this guy here?
Oh, some dummy standing there.
It wouldn't be yourself, would it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
afraid
the guy to the right with the hard hat on. Okay.
That's Leo Canning.
That's the guy in the back and
Right
under the
there.
P of the procedure.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's going to retire. He had seniority and everything, but kept saying, Leo, when you going to retire, as they usually do.
Yeah. What these guys with the hats on, was that kind of traditional? People would wear hats
Well,
on
they're
the
on their
top?
way home.
Yeah. Okay.
Catch them just clock, and
All
hold
right.
them so they can't punch out.
Okay.
But these people all worked after.
Yeah.
A lot of these, the hats on was 3:30 people. We had to work till 4.
Yeah.
Heat treat.
See, now we decided that this guy on the far left-hand side with the white shirt was,
Damon?
no, that was, oh darn, your labor
Les
relations,
Davidson.
Les Davidson, that
Yeah.
was it, yeah. And the guy next to him
Louis
was
Call.
Louis Call, okay.
And this guy's from Clarkston out there. I can't.
That's the little short
there's
guy
his,
in the suit.
There's his initials, but I can't think what his name is.
It's like GCR or something.
Yeah.
Okay,
We knew he had a farm
yeah. Okay.
because you could tell by the shoes when he came in. Well, this is Art Hilton.
The guy with the white coat or white, whatever it is.
Yeah. He was a committee man.
Yeah.
Well, that's Carl Gerhardt. Now, he was quite a character.
He's
a
like
nice guy.
The guy with the
Just a smile back
smile
there.
in the
He's
back
always
on the
had
left
one.
side, okay.
Very nice guy. The women, I can't think Well, that's Bill Thalen. He was a truck driver too,
This is the guy in the
with a
middle
little
right here?
mustache, yeah,
Okay.
in there.
Left of
Thielen.
center.
Thelen, I
Yeah.
think, Bill Thielen. That's Gerald Dungy.
This is is he a black man?
Yeah.
With the dark glasses. Okay.
And
Did people wear dark glasses a lot in the plant?
no, not in the plant because it was shady in there too.
Okay.
You know, that's and
Okay.
we pumped in fresh air for them.
What are these things in the foreground?
Oh, billets of some kind from the lab, probably, that they were sawing up, check to make sure we bought the right kind of steel, or the steel mill shipped us the right stuff.
Had that been through part of the process?
Yeah, it had been through a blocker.
That's what a blocker would give you.
Yeah.
All right.
Had put all the meat in here, and then here.
And this is the handle, kind of a handle to hang on to. Would that be what?
Tongue, probably.
Okay. Okay. And this guy apparently was getting these 2 suitcases as his retirement gift.
I would think, or a pen and pencil or whatever it is that he had in there, but I would guess that was to go with that.
All right. And this was sort of a typical occurrence when a person retired?
Yeah. Take up a little collection. I think that is Fred Simnick, but I'm not sure back there.
Okay, this is the guy with the cap in front of the door.
I believe that's him. But Canning said he couldn't afford to retire, and when he did, I came back to the plant. He retired in Osprey, Florida.
Yeah.
Come back one day in a plant. Well, Leo, are you getting the 3 meals? 3? Getting fat. I mean, 4 a day now.
Not working.
Not working either.
Right.
I can't think who this little guy is. He must be. This seemed like Elmer Downs, but I'm not whether he's big enough or not. But.
Far right with a hat on.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's a help. That's a help on who some of the folks would have been.
But the woman was from Clean and Finish.
And you said you had a lot of gals working there.
Well, at the when we left Clean and Finish, down the other end down there in the 45 after the war, then a lot of them left.
Okay, so that was more of a war occurrence sort of thing?
Yeah, to get.
All right.
Yeah, they hired a 90-pound girl as a publicity stunt to run a 3-inch upsetter to make 75 shell.
Did it work?
No.
It didn't work.
Spent most of her time we're having hemorrhage operation. Ruptures.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Okay.
And down in the upsetters, down on the axles, down here in this end of the hammer shop, they hired in 5 whipping off the street to be foremen. I always think that they should work up where the people got some knowledge of the business you're in. That'd be my thought.
Okay.
We aren't making dog food or kibbles or anything like that. You gotta know what's coming, and where's it going. But the company just don't feel that way all the time, do they? Nice part was that GM man come in. You know that he's going to soon be, when he learns how to get in the plant now, he's going to be general foreman. You know that. He doesn't have to tell you nothing. Oh, we done the blind people. We done the roses on the fence.
Nope, we didn't talk about the roses on the fence.
Oh yeah, that was.
That's a subject we need to talk about.
What we do?
Yeah.
Do you like 4 roses?
Sure.
I haven't got any.
Wrong kind. I'm sure they didn't grow on the fence.
No, they had climbing roses on that fence.
Who put those in?
Bug Dave. Bacon.
Okay. He was the manager back in the 40s.
When we first wound the place up, and he put white coats on us, if I remember right.
Okay.
I know we had white coats at one time. In a Forge plant wearing white coats now.
That's something else.
Like a billboard, I'll tell you what.
Did the roses, they just planted on the fence row, around the fence?
Around the bottom. Filled her up in time.
And you mentioned the bosses were out.
Some of them. I know one that went out and had a female secretary, and she had roses on her desk most of the time when they were blossoming.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. But when we were just a plain old free plant, you know, GM, Forge, then we could do almost anything we wanted over there.
Now
They called
initially,
us the swamp
the swamp, why was that?
because we were built over a swamp, and
Did that swamp have a name?
just the old rainbow plant was this.
Uh-huh.
But
You ever remember the bogus swamp?
where at?
Right there.
No, maybe that was it.
Okay.
I don't know, but there's a lot of bum ground underneath that
Mhm,
thing. Because when we started those big old hammers and the trees or the houses over there on Hathaway, Rosemary began to shake down.
You mentioned that it was a kind of a free plant. When it initially happened, it was General Motors Forge.
Yeah, that's what we were called, General Motors Forge.
So it really wasn't part of Oldsmobile per se.
No, not at that time, is
All
my
right.
understanding. And
Mhm.
we could take outside bidding and contracting, and
Yeah. Mhm.
which they done.
Mhm. Then eventually, you kind of became amalgamated with the Oldsmobile division.
Yeah, pretty soon become Oldsmobile Plant
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
And they took all us orphans, and I guess you.
But you always had a separate union too, didn't you? Like,
Yeah,
yeah. It was
oh,
still
oh, you
separate.
got some, always separate,
Mhm. Okay.
bargaining the whole bit.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's seems odd that they'd have to have two locals.
Mhm.
And Plant 3, we tried to make jet blades.
Oh yes, didn't talk about that at all. That we forged those, didn't we?
Yeah,
Mhm.
we were going to try to forge jet blades, and we couldn't find the lubricant to get the suckers out of the die. And they used